Hi everybody, Al Bernstein here with comedian, actor, writer, my friend Garry Shandling, as we just enter the Wildcard West gym that he co-owns. See, we've entered, there's a door right behind us, as evidence, that you co-own with Peter Berg.
Yes.
And this is a fun endeavor for you. And over here we've got all kinds of photos of famous folks that have been in the gym. Tell us a little bit about this wall.
Well, we've had this gym for just 2.5 years, and so we don't have all of our slew of pictures up of everybody who trains here.
Let's take a look.
But we'll get to this picture, which has most of the guys in it, and I'm not in this one, but this one is there. Of course, is Canelo and all of his team, and
Peter Berg over here.
Peter Berg, who's gonna, I think, is just using the John a minute. And
he'll do this later.
He's freshening himself up.
Yeah.
And then this.
This is a beauty.
This is one I made up about 7 or 8 years ago, or 10 years ago. I started boxing maybe 15 years ago, just because another buddy of mine, Dave Duchovny, actually called me and said, "You got to get into the ring and." Push yourself into an uncomfortable place.
Some people will be surprised to hear that you work out, you box, you spar. In fact, on Twitter there was a great hue and cry for you and I to actually put on the gloves against each other. I refused because I knew you'd probably knock me out. You have a great left hook, I've heard.
I actually have talked to Ali recently, who insists he's first. He gets first crack at you.
Oh, is that it?
Still.
Shoot. Well, these fighters, a lot of them want first crack.
Yeah. But
this picture.
I'll be happy to come up to your weight.
Okay, that was good. That was sly.
This indicates the man versus himself quality that I think exists in boxing that people don't see. They think it's two guys against each other. When, in fact, as we would both say, the man is really finding out and discovering about himself in those moments of complete chaos.
Yeah, it's true. No, that is
where that quiet moment is.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
Yeah.
Some of that defines your humor, in fact, too, I would say.
That's helped me in a lot of relationships, too.
Yes, I'm sure. Let's walk this way, as Marty Feldman would say around Frankenstein.
Sure.
And we're going to go through the gym here as we head toward where the actual gym is.
We had this is...
let's not forget about Ray Mancini.
Ray Mancini.
Our good friend.
Who, this book just came out, but Ray...
It's a great book.
Ray actually, I guess off the record, teaches a kids class here. We were looking for somebody to teach a kids class, and he came in and just likes the gym.
He's a great guy. Ray, of course, one of the best guys ever in boxing.
Ray.
Yeah, he's terrific.
I love Ray.
So as we come in, you see all the memorabilia, and now we're going to head into...
I always think Ray should be a little more outgoing. He doesn't seem to listen.
He doesn't pay attention to you, does he?
He listens, but he can't wait to talk. Would that be correct?
Yes, I think that's a fair statement.
He's like a jockey wouldn't be a bad idea to have on Ray.
Because he's ready.
He's ready.
Pulling the reins. Peter Quillen, Kid Chocolate, who trains here.
Yes, he does train here.
The many fighters that do. And let's take a look at where they train now. Let's come into the gym here.
So we found this building a couple of years ago, and it oddly looks like a gym when in fact all of these old lights
let's take a look.
Everything else was like this. The sort of deconstructionist look and the old brick wall, the old walls. That's a big door that opens there, and we just turned it day by day. We keep working at it. We're still working at it.
You do, and so for you as a man who has many interests and very eclectic.
You're just trying to say for a man like you, who you wouldn't expect to see within 6 feet of a boxing ring.
I wasn't going there, but that is an interesting direction.
That's a good point.
Okay, but what drew you to boxing? First of all, you mentioned that David gave you kind of a push in that direction.
He did. He said this is a place where you can get in that uncomfortable zone, and that relates to life, and that relates to certainly our work as an actor, and work as a comedian. So in those moments of awkwardness, you can stay fresh and keep the mind clear. It's a big philosophy I believe in, and learn to react. Because in real life, somebody can say something and you can take a moment which you can't in boxing.
Cannot, no. No timeouts.
There's no timeouts. And,
no crying in baseball, no timeouts in boxing.
Yes, so I think that's fascinating because people hide.
Yeah, it's true.
And there's no hiding in boxing. It's where the ultimate truth is. And I think that's what fascinates me about life. I think that truthfulness that's shared between those two guys in that moment is really what interests me.
That's great. That's a great way to put it. Now I remember we talked about how when you were performing back in the 80s at Caesar's Palace, and we were talking about, I remember announcing that the Hearns-Hagler fight in 1985.
Right.
You told me a great story about you working at Caesar's and having to run over to see that fight. Explain.
Yes, so I was working at Caesar's, and the fight was at Caesar's in the kind of the parking lot.
Yes, in the parking lot. That's where we did.
And I could only stay 3 rounds. The headline is I could only stay 3 rounds for the Hearns-Hagler fight, which turned out that's all.
They were very obliging.
They were going to stay. And so I think I was opening for Joan Rivers, and you know, I had my tux on, and I was just sitting in the 2nd row there, and as that 3rd round was going on, I'm looking at the clock, and then bam, and then that action takes, that 3rd round is just incredible, and I had to go right on stage.
That early Hearns.
Thank you for just making that edit, because I was down. They don't know that I was down for 8.
You were down for an 8-count card. We had to have an edit there.
I didn't know if the interview was going to continue right
No, you were in trouble. The referee was thinking of stopping this interview at that point.
Oh yes, I'm sure they'll replay this.
Many times,
yes. A lot of
in slow motion, and Larry Merchant will do a commentary over it.
Yes, which will make it, well, we have ways of speeding Larry.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, as we do everybody.
You know, I bumped into Larry Merchant just walking in a park by the ocean here, as I was thinking, as we older guys do, walking in the park with Larry Merchant, and he was getting ready to go, which I want to congratulate you, into the Boxing Hall of Fame.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And he was going like that day, and I said, you know, you can have this. You should say, when I die, I want the service to include somebody standing over me, over the coffin, going, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's not getting up.
Not many people have one television series that changed the medium. You have had 2, which is fairly extraordinary. First, the It's Garry Shandling show, which was on Showtime, interestingly, which broke down the 4th wall. And then Larry Sanders, which was, even though there had been shows before it that took us behind the scenes in the world of entertainment, this one did it in a totally different way. Let's talk about It's Garry Shandling first. Was it your intention from the beginning to break down that 4th wall?
Yeah, the intention for the first one was definitely to kick the side of the TV set, which we'll call it, back in 1990? Yeah. 1988. And so Showtime said, come on and do whatever you like. And so I knew I wanted to do a show where I included the audience with the regular story and do things like, I really don't know what to say to Al right now. Feel free to tweet in. And that's influenced a lot by a moment that Woody Allen had in Annie Hall, and it stuck with me. And I did that for 4 years and then really got bored with it. Just didn't want to keep doing this show. And I took a couple of years off and came up with Larry Sanders, which was an attempt to really explore human behavior more deeply, as we've been talking about here with boxing, than doing something drastically different. It was mostly to be incredibly real and honest about our challenge to overcome these flaws, which I include boxing in now as one of the exercises to do that.
Yeah.
Because people don't know if they're in their body, that's where answers lie, but they're tuned out and they're thinking too much. And so I think that was kind of a mantra on our set, in fact, and it freed the actors up and we got a certain style going, you know.
Did you, on that show, did you ad-lib much, or was it
it's unusual because it appears incredibly ad-lib, which it isn't. There was ad-libbing during the week when we would rehearse, but anyone was free at any moment too. And in fact, it may be more important that you have the freedom to than to actually do it.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The creativity.
And then we could take that to boxing, which means you can't be afraid to let go of that jab, as my boxing coach said to me early on, noticing my personalities. He said, if you're going to wait till the perfect time to throw that jab, you're never going to throw it.
It's true.
And you know, I said, let me stop for a minute, because I had to look at my entire belief system and see that's what the hesitations were.
Yeah, that's good. That is a good point. That's a great analogy.
You know, it doesn't mean you go in unaware and into some disaster. Yeah. It just means be aware, and there's never a perfect time.
No, that's for sure.
Is that fair?
No, I think that's a very great analogy between the two. You just made an analogy between comedy and boxing. I've always wondered about this. I've known so many, just had the pleasure to know a lot of great comedians over the years. And the reason I've known them is because invariably comedians love the sport of boxing. And I joke about the fact that maybe it's the fact that both boxers and comedians suffer for their art. Why do you think so many comedians love the sport?
I don't think it has so much to do with what people think is the violence of the sport. I mean, I think it's like watching a great actor. To me, it's like watching a great scene where you're seeing so much truth and someone so willing to be the truth. And that's the greatest challenge on stage. And so sometimes you're watching a boxing match and somebody doesn't, after the 7th round, they kind of think they have it locked up, and so they sit back and they end up losing it, and they go, wow, he shouldn't have stopped there. I think those are the lessons you learn that apply to life. And so when you're on the stage working, get to a certain place, and now can you go further? Yeah. And that's what I think. Point. That's what interests me.
You always know what to say, Gary. What a delight to.
I love you, Al.
This was great. I appreciate you inviting us into the gym, having a chance to chat with you.
And to have you in this gym for us is a milestone that we've gone from 2.5 years of, you know, making this thing up, and have someone as great as you. I really appreciate it.
Wild Card West, a terrific gym, and co-owned by Garry and Peter Berg. And not only is it catered to the boxers, but as you point out, it allows guys like you and I that want to just come in and do things.
Similar to the basketball game, where whether it's men or women, because I will, and I have said before, Sarah Silverman is the one woman that plays basketball.
Yes, correct.
She doesn't box with us, but similar to that, it's a group of guys that come in here who can feel free to talk about anything and be who they are.
That's great.
And transfer that right into the ring.
And not feel intimidated if a Peter Quillen is over there or somebody else is here.
That's right.
Yeah, which is great.
The trainers are fantastic. There's guys who have trained Mayweather.
Sure.
Yet you hop in the ring with them, and no one has made me feel silly yet.
As well they should. Yeah. Garry Shandling, great comedian, actor, writer, and entrepreneur and owner of the co-owner of the Wild Card West Gym.